6:29? Give me the high sign. My phones are all wrong. Tony, do we have to wait for the Daniel? Okay. Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. Roll call. Wywood,
Here.
Pabon, Deja, here. Our third commissioner, committee member, Rob Pabon, is not here tonight. Is there anyone here for public comments? Okay, no one here for public comments, so we'll move on, and I'll turn this over to Mr. Pena.
All right, thank you all for coming. What we're going to do is we're going to go through some modules to give you a high overview of what the Police and Fire Commission does, what our functions is, and what we do for the city of Berwin. What is a Police and Fire Commissioner? The Board of Fire and Police Commissioners has been established by the city of Berwin to evaluate and appoint all sworn officers and members of the city's fire and police departments, as well as be responsible for their promotion and discipline. Members and officers of the board. The board is comprised of 5 members who shall be appointed by the mayor with the approval of the city council for a 3-year term, which shall terminate on May 30th of the year in which the term is expired. The commissioners shall be considered officers of the city and shall file an oath and fidelity bond in such amount as may be required by the city council. The board may act only in a properly convened meeting, and no board member shall have the authority to act for the board or under the title of his or her board position unless specifically authorized by statute or by the board. Any act delegated to a board member by the board must be ratified by the board. Who are the commissioners? My name is Gil Pena. I am the chairman of the Police and Fire Commissioner. Anna Espinosa is a commissioner. Alice Solis is a commissioner. Ken Wazak is a commissioner. Daniel Treadwell is a commissioner. Tony Loretto is a commissioner secretary. All board members are members of the Illinois Fire and Police Commissioners of Illinois. All board members are required to attend training and receive certification at least once a year that is sponsored by the Illinois Fire and Police Commissioners of Illinois. Why does the city of Berwin need a police and fire commission? It's mandated by state statute. In every municipality with a population of at least 5,000 and not more than 250,000, which is not subject to Division 1 of this article, and in every municipality with a population of less than 5,000, shall adopt this Division 2.1 as provided in Section 10-2.1-27. Including in either event, any municipality incorporated and existing under a special charter, the mayor of the city, with the consent of the city council, or the president of the village or incorporated town, with the consent of the board of trustees, shall appoint a board of fire and police commissioners. This board shall consist of 3 members, at least 3 members, whose term of office shall be 3 years and until their respective successors are appointed and have qualified, except as provided in section 10-2.1-2. No such appointment, however, shall be made by any mayor or president within 30 days before the expiration of his term of office. Who can be a member of the board? Berwin residents, 21 years age or older, with a background examination, commitment to serve on the commission, interviewed with the mayor, and with the advice and consent of the city council. Anna?
Okay, as mentioned earlier, the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners derives its power and its authority from Article 10, Division 2.1 of the Illinois Municipal Code. As a board, we will adapt, enforce, and amend rules in accordance with Berwin Municipal Code, city ordinances, and governing state and federal law, except when the City Council acts within its home rule and collective bargaining agreements. Berwin is a fair and equal employer. Therefore, all of our applicants, candidates, and employees shall be considered on the basis of their qualifications as required by the position that they are applying for. The board shall inform employees and applicants of our fair and equal opportunities through posting required notices. Rank, certificates of appointment, and oath of office. The Board of Fire and Police Commissioners have the sole authority to issue certificates to police and fire members which will be signed by the chairman and secretary of the board. What are the duties of the chairperson and secretary? First of all, the board shall annually elect a chairperson unless the mayor has exercised his power to appoint the chair or the secretary. The chair shall preside at all meetings. The secretary will keep minutes of meetings and be the custodian of all records, including examination results. Powers and duties of the board. The Fire and Police Commissioners are in charge of all appointments, promotions, and demotions, except those of appointed positions. We will conduct and hold all exams for firefighters, paramedics, and police officers as required by law. We will conduct and hold all promotional exams to sworn ranking as required by law. To make temporary assignments to prevent a stoppage of public business or due to extraordinary circumstances. In order for the city, police, and fire department to remain in its force until regular appointments can be made. The board and police commissioners can conduct hearings to consider written charges for discipline, removal, or discharge. We will adopt, enforce, administer, and amend rules and regs consistent with governing state and federal laws, except City Council acting within its home rule or authority. We will employ our own attorney as authorized by the city. We will hire an independent contractor to assist with the testing process. Um, to assign administrative tasks from the board staff liaison assigned by the city. We will attend training programs and conferences applicable to our board duties, and we will submit an annual report, its rules, and a budget to the mayor. Regular and special meetings. All meetings shall be done in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. Special meetings may be called by the chair or at any two board members within 48-hour post. Okay, we have one more. Original appointments to fire and police department. The basic rules are both the same for police and fire department, but the basic requirements differ. For paramedic, firefighter, they are required to have a paramedic license and be registered with Loyola Hospital. They must have a certificate of advanced firefighter from the Illinois State Fire Marshal. Police officers are required to have an associate's degree or equivalent education hours. And I think, let's see.
All right, Alice, 17.
Hello, my name is Alice Solis. So the examination and qualifying standards for employment of paramedic, firefighters, and police officers shall be based on the mental aptitude, physical ability, moral character, and health. So the mental aptitude, physical ability, and subjective component is based on merit criteria as determined by the board. And the preference components shall determine the applicant's qualifications for and placement on the final register of eligible candidates. No examination shall contain questions regarding the applicant's political or religious opinions or affiliations. Scores from the examination must be made available to the public. And the physical ability, all applicants are required to pass the Cpat exam, which is the candidate physical ability test, which is administered by a certified testing agency. The Cpat is the recognized standard for measuring an individual's ability to handle the physical demands of being a paramedic, firefighter, or a police officer. The time test measures how candidates handle 8 separate events, all designed to mirror tasks on the job. And as far as the mental aptitude, there's the written exam, which is issued by a contracted agency. So the Board of Commissioners have no access to the written test. The Board of Commissioners have no input to the questions on the written exam. This agency vets all applications. They conducts and proctors the written exam along with members of the commission. They also deliver the test scores to the commission. And as far as the written exam, it shall be administered in order to measure an applicant's mental aptitude and shall be practical in character and relate to those matters which fairly test the capacity of the person examined to discharge the duties performed by members of the police or fire department. The examination shall include specific job-related criteria and must be documented by a validation study. And as far as the mental character, candidates with passing scores are interviewed by the commission. So the passing candidates are required to have an extensive background review. This review is done in part by the Berwin police detectives and also by an outside contracted agency. Passing candidates are required to have an individual assessment conducted by a contracted psychologist. And when it comes to the commission's interview, the passing candidates must have an interview with the commissioners. The commission determines the method of interview. The commission uses a 5-on-5 interview where it involves 5 commissioners and 5 candidates at a time. All interviews are video recorded. And when it comes to the commission scoring and review, test scores and preference points are compiled. A preliminary list is posted in all police or fire departments at City Hall. Candidates on the list now have 30 days to apply for military preference points. The list is recalculated with these points. A final eligibility list is time and date stamped with the city clerk and posted in the clerk's office, city website, all police and fire stations. This list is valid for 2 years. And as far as the pre-employment physical, at the time of conditional offer of employment, all passing candidates must have a complete physical exam, including drug screening, hearing and vision, stress tests, cardiology, and lung and spirometry.
Thank you, Commissioner Solis. Commissioner Treadwell, modules 25 through 32, please. I got this here for you, so you can use these. It's pretty hard to see.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Daniel Treadwell. So how do the candidates get hired on police or fire departments? So once a position is open on either department, the chief of the department makes a request in writing to the city council to contact the commission to hire the next available candidate on the eligibility list. If this request is approved by a roll call vote of the city council, then the chief will then contact the commission. The hiring process, so the commission will identify the next candidate on the list. The commission secretary will send notice to the candidate and to the detective bureau, and the investigative agency will begin the background investigation. And once the commission receives the reports of the background investigation and a polygraph, the commission reviews them. The commission will then decide whether or not to continue the vetting process, or if we want to stop or reject the candidate and move on to the next candidate. The hiring process. Passing candidates will be given a conditional offer of employment in writing, and if this is accepted by the candidate, then the candidate will be required to submit an individual assessment. Complete pre-employment physical. Commissioners will do a final review of all the documents and reports. The commission votes to proceed with the hiring process of the candidate, and the commission secretary will send notice to said candidate. And the candidate accepts the position, and the commission secretary will notify the commission and send notice to the clerk and city council. Promotional exams. So there are some differences with the collective bargaining agreements for each department. So the fire department is bound by the Illinois Fire Department Promotions Act, the Illinois Municipal Code 65, ILCS 5-10.1-1. And these rules and regulations of the city and the rules and regulations of the city of Berwin and of police and fire commissions. The promotional process shall be conducted and supervised by the Board of Commissioners in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement for each department, as well as the state statutes. And the board will notify the department no less than 6 months in advance of the test date. We'll post notice of any and all reading and study materials for both written, for both the written and the assessment. And a statement of the position or positions for which an eligibility list is to be created. And then we set the deadline for signing up to participate in the promotional testing. We set the time and place of the orientation meeting, and the examinations will be held. And then we'll post the outline of the testing schedule and the dates. So each step of the testing process is documented and posted within their respective departments. Seniority and educational points. First list is posted. Assessment center. Second scores are recalculated and the list is posted. The written exam, 3 scores are recalculated and a preliminary list is posted. Military points are calculated for those that apply, and then the 4 scores are recalculated and posted. And the final list is posted. In the assessment center, shall be administered by a professional registering testing agency selected by the board. The assessment center will be conducted as provided in section 35 of the ILFAE. Members of the assessment team or the assessors will be jointly agreed by the parties no later than 60 days prior to the set date of the promotional exam, and the date is conditional to the availability obtaining certified assessors within the testing schedule and an ordinance of the FDPA 50 ILCS 74250. Percentage of weight for the assessment per the CBA. Written exam. Written exam will be administered by a professional registered testing agency selected by the board. The test shall be conducted as provided in section of 35 ILFAE. Preliminary scores of the written exam will be available at the completion of the time of the exam. Any candidate who has taken the exam will have the opportunity to challenge any questions with the examiner at that time, and any further challenges to the exam must be done in writing to the board. And the final list is time and date stamped with the city clerk and posted with the city clerk and the city's website at each station. The list for each rank is valid for 3 years from the posting date, and this process restarts every 3 years for each rank. Promotions: once a position opens on either department, the chief of the department makes a request in writing to the city council to contact the commission for the next available candidate. Very similar to, very similar processes in that regard, both ways. If the request is approved by a roll call and then of the city council, then the chief will then contact the commission, and the commission secretary will notify the commission and the candidate for the promotion. Police entry level. Police entry level testing is typically every 2 years. Fire entry level is 2 years. Police sergeant promotions every 3 years. Police sergeant promotion every 3 years. Fire lieutenant promotion every 3 years. Fire captain every 3 years. And these testing cycles are in state statute and must be adhered to by the commission. There's the legal reference at the bottom. Lateral hire. So police officers may be hired on a lateral entry basis as authorized by Section 14 of the Fire Police Commission Act, 65 ILCS 5-10 2.1-14 of the Illinois compiled statutes. Lateral entry hiring process shall be outlined in Article 20 of the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Berwin and the Berwin chapter of the Metropolitan Alliances of Police. Legal reference at the bottom. You can see, oh man, that's a lot to read. Still on lateral hire, so the same hiring practices, are the same except for the written exam. So this is replaced with an assessment conducted by the police administration and the commission of mayoral appointee. The examinations of lateral entry candidates shall be job-related and practical practical and character, and relate to those matters which will fairly test the capacity of the persons examined to discharge the duties of the position. Candidates are required to provide a resume and copies of training certificates, or certifications, and documentations for scoring purposes. Lateral hires continued. Candidates will also be scored on cognitive abilities, personal appearance, interpersonal skills, communication skills, aptitude towards police work, and police-related knowledge. The initial exam for candidates will include the assessment or oral interviews, background investigation, polygraph exam, and candidates receiving a conditional offer of employment will be required to pass the following. They'll be required to pass individual assessments, medical exam, including drug screening. Acceptable candidates shall be placed on a new or current lateral entry eligibility list in alphabetical order from which the city's police and fire commissions may select at their discretion to fill vacancies depending on qualifications and experience. Acceptable candidates will remain on lateral entry eligibility list for a period of up to 2 years. Hearings and discharges for discipline. The board shall have the authority to conduct due process hearings and discipline or discharge matters involving non-probationary officers or members of the Berwin Police and Fire Departments, except where a collective bargaining agreement covers such offer or member and provides an alternative supplemental form of due process, which is chosen by the officers or members, or where such officer or member is subject to discipline or discharge by the city council or the city manager by ordinance of personal contract. Probationary firefighters and police officers may be similarly dismissed by the board upon the recommendation of the board. Of the fire or police chief, as provided by the board's rules, and are not entitled to the protection afforded to other full-time officers or members by state statutes or these rules. Hearings shall be public in ordinance with Illinois Open Meetings Act. Parties to the proceedings may be represented by counsel if they so desire. Counsel as used, basically, we know a personal attorney, things like that, right? Proceedings during a hearing before the board shall be recorded by court reporter employed by the board. Witnesses shall be sworn prior to testifying, and the matter will be decided by the board on the evidence presented at the hearing. No rehearing, reconsideration, modification, vacation, or alteration of a decision of the board shall be allowed. The provisions of the Illinois Administrative Review Law shall apply to and govern all proceedings for the judicial review of final administrative decisions of the board. Legal reference at the bottom. In summation, the acts of the Board of the Fire Commission is bound by federal laws and decrees, state laws and statutes, collective bargaining agreements, rules and regulations of the state of Illinois Police and Fire Commission, rules and regulations of the Berwin Police and Fire Commission as well. The chiefs, the mayor, and members of the city council have no role or influence in the hiring, promotion, or disciplinary procedures over the commission. They do not review or approve any of the lists of candidates for hire or promotion. It is the sole responsibility of the commission and only the commission to vet all candidates for a position with the Police and Fire Commission, to test all eligible candidates for promotion or in a fair and equitable manner, and to conduct a rule on all disciplinary actions on all of the city's police and paramedics and firefighters.
Thank you, Dan. Committee, is there any questions?
I have no questions.
I do not either.
Okay.
Is there
Well,
any-
I appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to give you an overview of what we do and what our responsibilities are. I guess in general, I'd just like to say that our attorneys here, our chief of police, and our chief of the fire department. So if you guys have no questions for them?
No.
Okay. Well, the modules pretty much spelled it all out, so
Okay.
you guys have copies. This is also posted, correct, Tony? On, if you guys need to go back and take a look at it, it's readily available.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, we would like to thank you for coming out and presenting this to us. I think this is fascinating and very meticulous and very professional. I'm glad I heard all this. I think we should, this should be presented to the entire city council, and I'm glad it's on YouTube for the public to see. In the interest of transparency and to dispel misinformation, I think everyone should see this and listen to it. Maybe we could get it presented at city council. Okay, so I think there's no other action, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
When it goes red, that means it's off.
That's,